Thank you very much, Natalia, and hi, Tino, and a great pleasure to be joining you and to be joining everybody who's with us online. Hope to meet you all in person one day, but now this is good.
So welcome again, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. So it's quite the challenge to be invited to speak 20 minutes about partnership. I think this is something that certainly was the story of everybody who's working in the fields of culture or in any field that is of public interest in a way. We spend our lives partnering. That's not something new to introduce to our lives, that's for sure. However, I think sometimes partnership becomes a word a bit void of its meaning because it becomes a technicality. It becomes just a requirement or a part of the checklist that we have to always meet. Here, I was thinking of starting from telling you that on some level, I believe partnership is the opposite of war. Because at a deep level, partnership is us admitting or acknowledging the fact that we need to negotiate. So there is another part of this conference I can read that is about conflict resolution, for example. And I think partnership is a resolved conflict in potential. I say this because when one lives a whole life in partnerships, it becomes a continuous question of where is the limit between me, what I want, and when I say me here, it can easily be the same between the person, me, and the organization that I'm representing in a discussion or in a partnership negotiation. There is a big similarity between us humans and our organizations, and partnering between two individuals or between two organizations also has some important similarities. If we follow this line a bit, maybe it becomes easier to measure the success of a partnership by measuring its breakup. I learned so much from films. Obviously, my job at IDFA and other jobs before involve watching hundreds and hundreds of films every year. One film taught me recently that in Vietnam, in the most obscure countryside culture in Vietnam, a breakup between a couple requires a little ceremony that is called a breakup wine. And when the two drink the breakup wine, the breakup becomes peaceful. In a way, when we look at the ending of a relationship, we can measure how successful it was from the beginning, but what would make it successful in the first place? Why do we need a partner on a project? There are many possible reasons to be interested in partnership. However, there are a few that can be highlighted. One of them, obviously, in our world today is financing. We know that sometimes partnering with another organization or another person do mean that we have access to additional funding. Still, it is very important to remember that partnership most of the time costs money too. So it is not that obvious. It might bring in money, but it will cost extra money. We partner sometimes because a partnership would probably mean access to a wider audience, whether it is in the sense of audience for cultural activities or for promoting ideas, be that political, social, environmental, or even in a commercial context. A partnership might open a space, a new audience, a market, or bridge two markets or two audiences together. However, is there really a product here that is going to be workable or interesting equally for two different audiences. So again, it is very, very useful, but it is not that obvious. The third reason I can think of why I ever needed a partnership was because I, or the organization I work for, did not have the capacity to meet the requirements of a project that we truly believe in. So if we team up with others, if we partner, then it can be done. This again is a key element, but there are also negative possibilities here, because teams like us have their psychology and have their context, their experiences. It's not always going to be only positive. There is always a negative aspect here. I do not start by saying these points because I am skeptic about partnership. It is actually because I believe in partnership. And to believe in something, in my opinion, requires that we see it as a complexity and not just as a simple positivity. I need a partner. First question that comes to my mind, that I need to bring to my mind, is, does the partner need me too? Does the project itself need a partnership? Many times the answer is no. But when the answer is yes, it becomes a big question. Equality is a key element in partnership. Now, equality could mean that we are of the same caliber, the same size, the same reputation, the same field of interest. But that is a very easy way to look at the idea of equality. What we need first and foremost is to make sure that there is an equality in how much each one of these partners will take out from the partnership and how much each one of the partners will put into the partnership. So if one partner is giving more and the other partner is taking more, we're heading towards a problem. This is not always obvious, because when we need a partner, we start pushing because we need to convince them. And that's where pitching comes in, the other topic of your good conference here. Sometimes we want something so bad that we keep pushing for it. And at the same time, that is resulting in us losing the chances of making it real, of making it workable. So when you push somebody to partner with you, or when you accept somebody pushing you to partner with them, although you're not sure of the balance of interest here, the balance of benefit and the balance of what you have to put in to invest, maybe that's not the best partnership to go for. I'll recap. We need partnership because the projects need partnership. We need partnership for whatever reason, be it opening a new audience or new financing or adding capacity to the team. The question is, partnership to be real needs equality, needs mutual benefit and mutual investment. An imbalance in these points will probably result in a dangerous lack of coherence and gradual problems emerging. This might sound a bit obvious, but this is a kind of problems that I found myself in many times in my life, but I'm also always observing in the experiences of others when they are partnering. One element that proved to me to be very useful in protecting partnerships is to make sure that not everything you do as an organization or as an individual is a partnership. Look at this talk I'm giving to you now. I have no partners here. I am collaborating with the conference. I'm collaborating with all of you participating in it. But this is something that I do on my own. I do not need to partner with someone. Maybe in another moment it might be useful, but in this case, I'm very happy that I have the chance to be doing something on Sunday afternoon in which I do not have to negotiate with anybody. What is it exactly that I'm going to say, that I'm going to do, or that I'm going to wear, for example? One of the key elements that is often forgotten in partnering is the fact that we come different. Organizations have their own different contexts and their own different balance of elements. They might meet about one project, and that is a wonderful opportunity. However, they might not meet outside of this project. There are contradictory and sometimes competing interests or points of attention. There is also the point of crossing borders and crossing cultures. When we partner across border or across culture, we find ourselves in places where things mean different things. And here is the key element of the actual value of negotiation. So something might mean a totally different thing for someone in another country or in another society. The politics are different. The mechanisms are different. And what might seem to be as the correct thing in my own context might well be absolutely wrong from the viewpoint of the partner. Partnership is one of the greatest exercises of democracy one can find. There is no place really in partnership to being absolute, to thinking or approaching a project in an extremely polarized manner. We have to be more flexible in order for a partnership to work out, and we have to understand that a partnership is, by definition, a compromise. One of the key points that I believe is necessary to remember working across cultures and across borders in partnership is a point that is coming across only in literary studies or in cultural studies recently. And I think this is a point that is becoming more and more important in our world today, which is the point of trying to appreciate the fact that we cannot fully grasp, that we cannot really know the other context. Here, what we're talking about is the concept of the unknowability. It sounds strange, but it is true. I try my best to understand what is the context, what is the viewpoint of this other organization in this different context. And then I think after a while that I get it. They will agree to this, they will disagree with that, because in their own context, there is this and that element. However, life and experience, the context itself, is way more complex than that. I cannot know. I have to start from being sure that I do not know and that I might never know the full picture from the partner's viewpoint. Then the question becomes, can I trust the partner to the full because they are the ones who know and I am bound by my unknowability? If I can do that, I can cross borders for real. I can protect long-standing partnerships in a way that is sustainable, mutually beneficial, and that is peaceful. The more I resist the fact that I do not know and I stick by my own convictions of what is right and wrong, the more a partnership might fail. This is ridiculously similar sometimes to marriage. However, when we talk about this, I get to the question of organic partnership. When I was, for example, in a moment of my career and life, when my whole country, my home country of Syria, exploded with an uprising, I was not planning to become a politician. But I suddenly found myself literally pushed by the fact that under my own balcony, there were displaced persons on the pavement. And then the question was not, what is it that I choose or what was it that I would like? The question became quite ethical. Can you see this and ignore it? Or do you have to try and do something? Now, what happened back then was in many ways a beginning of something that we all now know with the pandemic. What happened back then is that it was extremely unsafe, dangerous to be out in public, partnering and planning and doing various civic actions. What happened was that we found ourselves, a whole community, a whole country, going into an online mode of collaboration. We started creating partnerships, and we started seeing partnerships collapse under the pressure of the extreme conditions surrounding us. More partnerships again, and more sub-partnerships. So a structure of partnerships would emerge. Many people come together and work online because they have a mutual necessity. They have a mutual objective that they share. The minute this objective is diluted or met, the reasoning, the actual reason for being partners collapses. And then we end up with a different set of partnerships. This dynamic setup is, at one hand, realistic and original, organic to its context. However, it also is, in a way, destructive, or it is a manifestation of a destructive context. We need partnerships to be more organic so that they can live longer. Partial partnership is useful, but let's not call it partnership anymore. Let's call it an alliance over a particular objective. A real partnership requires real elements: equality, mutual benefit and mutual investment. It requires a real necessity, a real need, because again, it is expensive to partnership, to work in a partnership. It is costly on the time level, on the intellectual level, and then on the financial level, most probably. We get asked to do partnerships a lot. Many financiers, many philanthropies and foundations are promoting partnership in a beautiful way. As a believer in partnership, I would like to defend partnership by saying it cannot be imposed. A partnership needs to come from the mutual will and the mutual interest of the partners. It seems sometimes that this is difficult to explain to financiers or to bigger organizations who are really pushing towards it, but I think everybody can argue for an organic partnership instead of an imposed one. The balance between interest and benefit and investment creates real partners. Anything else cannot be called partnership. So let's defend partnership by making sure it is not something else. Now, when we partner for real, organic partnership, that's where growth begins. Because we all learn so much, we all do so much more, we all have this continuous exercise of negotiating with each other. There's a ground level. Let's not necessarily partner with an organization or a person who is absolutely different from us in everything. There's a starting place where we agree on certain ethics or certain values. But after that, it's an open space for discussion, negotiation, mutual learning, mutual benefit, mutual investment. Then the world starts. I hope this is in any way useful. I hope it's just a reminder that partnership is negotiation, that democracy is at the core of this question, and that an imbalance will destroy a partnership. And I wish you all a great projects, great pitches, and then also a lot of questioning to why do you need the partnership and how do you make it really useful to both sides. And thank you.
Thank you so much. And you can read comments in our chat, and I see really a lot of appreciation. And to be honest, I'm also impressed, and I have a lot of thoughts to think. And I totally agree with Hannah, with her comments, that this realistic and comprehensive view, that you presented to us. And I know that some of participants still looking for partners, and I believe your speech was totally useful for them. And also your last advice to ask questions, I agree that it's so crucial. So also wish our participants to do it. Dino, what probably you can also share your impression.
I'm there if there is anything you would like me to contribute further with, but thank you very much, and wish you a wonderful rest of the conference.